Brilliance Audio presents Darkness to Light by Lamar Odom with Chris Palmer. Read by Chris Palmer. To Kathy, Mildred, Liza, Destiny, and Lamar Jr. L.O. To my parents, Ransford and Sally, C.P. 1. This is where I was born. This is where she died. I can close my eyes and still see it. It's cold outside. There are no leaves on the trees. The concrete is cracked and broken. Kathy has to take the bus. She doesn't know where Joe is. The bedroom is empty. I am alone. I am Lamar Joseph Odom, and I am alive. I was born in the autumn of her 23rd year. She had always wanted a child, a boy who would grow to be handsome and tall. When she got pregnant, she was living with her mother in an upstairs bedroom and working for the New York City Department of Transportation in Queens. Joseph Odom was a charismatic Vietnam War vet who worked as a janitor in the Woodside Houses project in Queens. My mother was visiting a friend there when Joe first noticed her, and won her over with his good looks and an easy brand of charm. She liked his smile. He liked her round, pretty eyes. He was 23. She was 21 and just finding her way in the world. Shortly after their first encounter, Kathy Mercer, tall, lithe, and beautiful, was walking by Woodside when Joe saw her again. He was cutting the grass, and his boots were stained green. He shut off the mower and met her at the sidewalk. "What's up, Slim?" he said. That's what he would call her, a cute nickname to break the ice and set him apart from other guys. "Nothing. Just trying to get home," Kathy replied. "But I don't have a token." She needed to jump on the 7 train. Joe had but one subway token in his pocket. He needed it to get home. "Take mine," he said. He reached in his pocket and placed the token in her palm. Kathy smiled and gave him her number. "You gonna call me, right?" she asked. "I got the number memorized." My father walked the 72 blocks home. He repeated her phone number the whole way. That token, something so small, yet quintessentially New York, is the beginning of my story. Joe grew up in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, long before the hipsters invaded. We was on the block, my dad told me years later. We had to do it for ourselves. It wasn't pretty like it is now. We had drugs and temptation. We were young and innocent. Our lives were at stake. My dad first tasted marijuana at 14. From there, he dove headfirst into hard drugs. He hustled on the block. He dealt to pimps, gangsters, and bangers. He'd get a fix from a neighborhood dealer with the promise of more to come if he could sell on the street. He often found himself holed up in an abandoned building getting high. His parents were furious when he dropped out of high school his sophomore year. When Joe finally told his father, he ordered Joe into the family car, a 1968 Cadillac Eldorado. They drove for 2 hours, talking about repercussions and dreams and where Joe's life was headed. Back in the driveway, my grandfather put the car in park. They sat in silence for 10 minutes. He looked at Joe and saw himself in the youngest of his 5 children. This boy, who was bright and tall and strong, began to cry. "I'm a drug addict," Joe said. "I know, son," said his father. The next day, my dad enlisted in the Army. There was a recruitment office near their apartment. 2 weeks later, he was shipped to Fort Dix in New Jersey to begin his military training. Shortly after, he was deployed to Saigon. He reached the rank of E-4 specialist and trained with M16s. The experiences in a foreign land traumatized him. He returned to Brooklyn a broken man. He was introduced to heroin in Vietnam.